Hey, I'm Genzo.
And I'm Genie.
Genie, you were supposed to wait until I introduced you to say something.
I know, but I got excited. You know how long we've been waiting to release this one on the new channel?
You aren't wrong about that. We have been cooking up in the lab since about last year, September.
I know, I just got excited as all.
I'm with you on that one. I'm pretty excited too, especially because this is about my favorite indie detective game ever, Mindcop.
Firstly, if you're R2R2, his girlfriend, Jamazaline, Jugmaid Erds, and anyone else who is considering playing Mindcop, before I give out some key spoilers, stop listening now. Go play the game and then come back.
If not, then let's delve into the murder mystery that is Mindcop. See, how I came across this game is that me and my boy Yagi were looking for a game to satisfy that one obscure gaming itch we had this one night. He mentioned that he had this game called Mindcop in his wish list and recommended that we play it.
And the rest was history for the two of them, like Romeo and Juliet.
Chill out. So let's start off with the basic plot of the game. You start your journey in a car with your partner Linda as you're driven to a small remote area, more so like a village called Dimeville. You get to the crime scene and that's when you see her body.
A girl called Rebecca has been murdered sometime between 8 PM and 2 AM with multiple stab wounds in the chest. They even decided to leave the knife in her body. She most likely bled out from the multiple stab wounds, however, you notice it was a frontal attack. She got to see the person murder her in her final few moments in her own room. But the weird thing is, there doesn't seem to be any signs of a struggle. How strange. It's your job, the Mindcop, with your partner Linda to figure out who committed the crime. However, you must be quick as you only have 5 days to figure out who did it before you leave to go solve your next case.
You might still be asking, what is Mindcop? When the real question you need to be asking is, who is Mindcop?
See, the Mindcop is a world-renowned famous detective who is known for his mind surf ability that essentially allows him to enter someone's mind. The Mindcop as a person is quite a black and white person. He believes that if something is one way, then it can't be the other way, and doesn't really take into consideration the inner workings that can also play a factor into how something works, or turns out. For example, a conversation he has with Linda is that Robin Hood is supposed to steal from the rich and give to those who are the poor. However, once the poor become the new rich, he has to now steal from those who are the rich and then give it to those who were previously the rich, now making them the new poor, if you get what I'm saying. However, as Linda mentions, this is simply untrue, as Robin Hood's job would be to steal from the rich and then give to the poor, to then create a balance in which his new job would be to keep the balance within the village. His mind surf ability is what allows him to enter someone's mind, usually taking around 30 minutes.
I also want to clear something up very quickly. Whenever we refer to time, we're talking about in-game time. So when we mention, just like we did, how the mind surf takes 30 minutes, we're not talking about it literally taking 30 minutes IRL, but we're talking about 30 minutes displayed in-game.
From that, he is brought into the Sea of Thoughts, in which he is able to depict 3 things from the person's mind, with one door being labelled the truth, which at its core is true, the other uncertainty, which could behave like the truth door or lie door, so take it with a pinch of salt, and the final door being labelled the lie door, in which that shows something that is completely untrue. You can go through the door in any order, as the events in each door are actually different from one another. However, it's how you depict the events from each door that not only make the game interesting, but challenges your inference skills and what you can infer from it. Also, be wary that some of the events from the doors can actually coincide with and link to an event from another character's door, allowing for a different perspective. It reminds me of this one Marcus Aurelius quote in which he said that everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact, and everything we see is a perspective, not the truth.
The overall gameplay of the game is rather interesting, but very much fitting for an investigation game. And I liked it very much because how it works is that more or less you're given around 7 hours a day to do investigations, which is honestly quite realistic because the most important moments of an investigation can be literally from when the incident happened. as stuff like evidence won't have been tampered with, and witnesses' minds will still be rather fresh with the events that have just taken place.
Every single action costs time. For example, talking to a possible suspect takes 15 minutes, so you must make the most of it, because even the topics of conversation consume time. You gotta focus on what you think is most important. Plus, it also takes about 30 minutes alone just to do the mind surf. However, if you learn any new topics from the person's mind surf, then you can talk about them about these new learned topics. So make the most of the time that you have, as time is definitely against you, more than ever, and you will definitely regret wasting it. I cannot stress enough how much time is important. From checking the cupboard to entering and leaving a location, everything takes time in this game. Also, the mind surf stage of the game is actually rather interesting, as you're given a time limit to create matching colors on a rotating square that you control, and you have to make sure the same colors match. If you fail to do so, you simply just restart the level. However, this does increase in difficulty as you progress through the game. It's a good touch, as the mind surf sort of feels like a breather, allowing you to relax from the investigation, just have a bit of fun from all the murder and stuff like that, sort of reminding you that it is just a game at the end of the day. And that is until you finish the minigame and then go back to solving the case, of course. Plus, you can get a search warrant within the game, like real life, allowing you access to areas that the characters may not allow you to search without one. However, the cost of doing that is that you can only get one per location, and after you do that, they may decide to stop cooperating with you once you've used it. Also, on the final day, you are only given 5 hours, in which by the end of the day, if you haven't already decided to put someone in jail, then you have to. But even if you get the answer wrong, you still get to play the game again, as the game doesn't even spoil it for you, so you can finish the game still questioning who actually committed the murder.
To be fair, all the music used in this game very much fits the game. From questioning the suspects, to deciding which location to go to next, to even when deciding to play the mind surf minigame. The music in this game does a really good job at fitting the theme of the game. Heck, I'm probably playing the music from the game in the background of this video right now.
From the increase in tempo and change in song when you catch a suspect out on their lie, to the much more chill and relaxed jazz music in the background as you traverse the map, and even the song On Your Mind that plays during the mind surf, which I enjoyed so much it now resides within my Spotify playlist. The point being that the music in this game was very much taken into consideration when making this game, which is incredible, because I think that people truly do forget how much music plays such a vital role in making a game whole. That's why games like Persona, whether it be Persona 5, Persona 4, or even 3 Reload, are highly regarded for their music. Music is very much important when making a game. It's simply just another puzzle piece in the puzzle that makes a game, especially because no music or a lack of it can make a game, video, or even movie feel empty. There are just moments where music is absolutely necessary, as it can help amplify an emotion, and the right sort of music must be used to fit the scenario, and this is something that I think Minecraft does well.
Now, let's get into who is probably my favorite character in the game, Linda. Linda is Minecraft's partner. Not assistant, trust me, you don't want to call her your assistant. She is your partner, okay? Partner.
And each new day starts with a conversation between Minecraft and Linda in their car. Often, Linda decides not to really interact with the Minecraft in his conversation, and this may be due to the fact that Linda has been with him for so long that she'd much rather not entertain his thoughts, and she'd much rather not, as she's become so used to hearing him ramble on about quite literally anything. And she, unlike the Minecraft, is actually quite the opposite from the Minecraft, being someone who does see the rainbow or the grey area, taking the inner workings into consideration, understanding that some things do require more depth to truly understand rather than just surface level. I do like the dynamic of their opposite personalities working well with each other, even if they don't always see eye to eye. Linda is more so there to provide an outside perspective, with the Minecraft often asking her about her opinions on the suspects that they've met and which color they most coincide with. And though it seems kind of random to ask what color they most coincide with, if you've played the game, I'm sure you'll understand why. Also, Linda can provide progress on things that the Minecraft once done. For example, a USB found in the computer at the scene of the crime, Linda can discover what's on that USB. Also, the most interesting part about Linda is that she provides Minecop with optional training at the end of every day, allowing him to mind surf her and enter her Sea of Thoughts. However, the most interesting part that there is about Linda is not only that she's the only person who can enter her own Sea of Thoughts, well, not actually the only one, but as she meets the Minecop in there and sends him back into the real world after the training. Plus, what's also quite intriguing is that Linda is the only person where all her doors are locked. For some reason, we have no access to any of Linda's doors, and after thinking, my mind was just hooked in this idea of trying to figure out the reason why. Like, why is it that we can't access her doors? You're only able to access one of her doors by the end of the game or towards the end of the game, but we never get to see the other two. And I was just so confused and hooked in this idea of like, why? Why not?
Alright, let's chit chat about the game and let's actually go over the characters in the game that you'll get to meet. I won't go over every single character that you'll get to meet in the game, but most of the cool ones that you'll get to meet and give you a quick rundown of all of them.
Also, all the things that we mention are going to be things that we basically learn in the characters' mind surfs. So once again, another spoiler warning, but like at this point you're already too far gone. So at this point you're here because you want to be here, which like hopefully you're enjoying the video so far. Anyway, so let's start off with Officer Kenneth. He's the current chief, as the chief is on holiday, and though at first glance we think that he should be a honest and decent cop, keywords on the fact should be, we quickly learn that this isn't the case, as we learn that he's not only not a fan of the Minecop, finding him big-headed, which I mean I guess I kinda get, but he also threw up on the blood at the scene of the crime and doesn't mention it until we call him out on it. Let me say again, the only reason why we know this is because of the fact that we mind surfed him. So there goes the so-called honesty and decency. Next is Adam. He's not only Rebecca's roommate, but also her boyfriend, viewing Rebecca almost like his light, glory, and hope, and now feels completely lost without her. Next is Sean. Comes off as a bit of a hothead and gives off shady, liar, and greedy vibes. We learn that he's in some sort of shady business with Rebecca and could have some correlation to giving the murderer a motive. Next is Josh, the owner of the camp that everyone lives at, and we learn that he most likely owns it due to the main attraction being the large rock called Bombo, from a volcano, a place he used to visit a lot with his grandpa when he was younger. Next is Alex, who is currently living with her dad and younger brother. We learn that she isn't a big fan of her mum as she left and feels as though her mum was just using her dad. Next is Ruben. He works in a bar and lives with his uncle and his uncle's son, and we learn that Ruben actually has a crush on Alex. Next is Gabe, who is Ruben's uncle and Elliot's father. He previously was the camp staff, but now retired. We learn that he has a very controlling demeanor about him and acts as if he's still in control of everything at the camp when he clearly doesn't. Next is Olivia, who is Sean's girlfriend. She comes off as shy and quiet, and we learn that she does fear him as she's almost succumbed to abuse from him. Next is Benji, the father of Alex and Zachary. We learn that after their mother leaving, he sort of views himself as his kid's hero, doing anything to keep the family safe. Next is Zachary, the younger brother of Alex and son of Benji. He is very much a big fan of the Minecop, and we learn that Benji actually has the ability to mind surf, but only in his own mind, and meet another version of himself. Next is Robin, Rebecca's mum and Paul's wife, and though she has some paranoia believing that someone is constantly watching her, we learn that Robin is physically abusing Paul and that she actually finds pleasure in doing so. Next is Paul, Rebecca's dad and Robin's wife. Now, look, I know what I just said, but like, let me just start off by saying, F this guy, okay? Look, like, Yagi, I know if you're watching this right now, you'll know like what we're talking about, but F this guy. Anyway, we learn that after a fire event at the camp, he's left paralyzed from the neck down. After trying to be a hero, but becomes fearless and becomes mute over time. And he literally doesn't answer any of the questions you ask him, due to now being fully mute. And last but not least is Elliot, who is the son of Gabe, and the reason why I mentioned him last is because he actually isn't there until Saturday, as he was at an accounting seminar in Berlin. clearing him as a suspect as he simply wasn't there. We learn that the very fire event that left Paul paralyzed was started by none other than Elliot, after being peer pressured by his girlfriend, and Rebecca actually witnessed him do it.
And let's go over what is possibly the biggest plot twist in the game, okay? See, on Friday, after 3 days of investigating, somehow another person is found dead.
It's Sean. Olivia called around 7:15 AM as she's the only one to found him dead, and it seems as though Sean and Rebecca's shady business may have gotten them killed. His death seems rather unusual as he's hit the back of his head from Bumbo with a blood spot on Bumbo from where Sean hit his head. The reason why this is such a plot twist is because not only does Sean come off as shady, but his alibi doesn't match up, as on the day of Rebecca's death, he said that he was having a walk in the forest with Ruben, yet Ruben said that he was at home with his uncle Gabe, in which Gabe confirms Ruben's alibi. So we are given so much reason to believe that Sean killed Rebecca out of greed, just for him to also end up dead. His alibi simply being untrue and his own mind surf, as well as his actions in other people's mind surfs that he appears in, just adds to the suspicion of Sean being Rebecca's murderer. And I mean, it's possible to think that it's two different killers, but it was still quite a shock to me, as we were so convinced that it had to be Sean, just for him to end up dead 3 days later. It was genuinely something that I think neither one of us expected on our first playthrough, and to be completely honest, it sent me and Yagi quite into the frenzy.
And that's it. That's everything to learn about Minecraft without giving the biggest spoiler being the person who committed the murder, well, murders, and what things the Minecraft finds in each of the characters' mind surfs or sea of thoughts. Like I said before, this is by far my favorite indie detective game ever, and even if you have watched this video, you probably should still give the game a try.
And we're glad that we were able to tell you guys about it.
Also, this will literally be the one and only time that I ever say this on this channel, but if you did enjoy, subscribe. And we will see you in about a month, people.
Oh, he's not lying about that, by the way. I wish he was lying. But it will probably take about a month for him to make another video. Also, Genzo, weren't we missing someone?
You're right, we are missing someone, but give him some time. I'm sure they'll make an appearance eventually. Anyways, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
See you guys next time. Let's go, man. We're finally done. Oh my days, bro. This